What is up, guys, and welcome back into the Rams house. Thank you so much for stopping in. Today I'm going to be talking about Jacob Harris and coming to the Rams and kind of what he brings and why I think this is very much a hidden gem, a versatile player. We're going to be kind of going into not really too much of a film breakdown, but we're going to be looking at some of his highlights, and I'm going to be discussing why the Rams picked him, what he can do with the Rams, and all of that. But before I get into this, I want to say none of these clips I own. I do not own any of these. They belong to the Rams, they belong to the colleges, stuff like that. I just use them to help illustrate my opinions and tell you about these types of players. So let's get into the video here. Okay, I want to start by saying Jacob Harris was really not a guy when he was drafted that I was like completely stoked about, because I was getting worried about the Rams possibly trading and stuff like that, their receivers, because of all the ones they were taking, and it was just kind of interesting to me to see them taking so many receivers, and I'm sure that I'm not the only one who thought that. But looking at this guy's tape and watching the Rams press conferences, I get an idea on what they're going to be using him as and just how good he could be in this offense, because this offense has a ton of playmakers. As you're seeing these highlights, a lot of comparisons are to kind of like a George Kittle or a bigger Cooper Kupp. That's one of the biggest comparisons I see, is he's a bigger Cooper Kupp, and I think that's a pretty good comparison. He's not the fastest guy, but at his height and at his weight, he is a pretty fast receiver, all things considered, as he ran a 4.39 at the combine. And I think that this guy brings a lot to the offense, and he's kind of a guy that we have our speed guy, we have a versatile guy, kind of like Robert Woods, but he's definitely shorter, he's got some different traits. And then Cooper Kupp, he's got that amazing route running, he's got the hands, and again, his common comparison is to a bigger Kupp. He can do some great route running, but he's very physical, and he seems to always come down with the football. Like, that's just something that he always seems to do. He's able to come down with the football, and he seems to sacrifice his body for the football. He's very physical, as I said. He'll pluck the ball out of the air, and I think that the Rams were looking at this roster and it's not to knock Woods or Kupp or anything like that. I think they saw something of, hey, we could put in some playbooks, some concepts, and different plays to utilize that skill set, where Stafford can throw someone up because we know Stafford's aggressive, and we know Harris is going to come down with this because he's a go up and get it kind of guy. But he also he played wide receiver and tight end in college, and I think that the Rams could be utilizing this kind of as a guy. I know we have Bryson Hopkins, but to fill that Gerald Everett hole that he left there, and he could play some fullback, different packages. But the main thing is, he's not just supposed to be a guy as a fullback or a backup tight end all the time. The Rams were alluding to in their press conference that they wanted to use him more as, like, in different types of playbooks and different type of play things. And the big reason for this, I think, is, like I mentioned before, they don't really have a guy like this that's big, goes up and gets it all the time, and is very similar to Kupp. They don't have a lot of those guys, or any of those guys, as I should say, on this roster, and that can be utilized with Jacob Harris. And one thing to note, guys, is that if you watch Stafford's film and some of his highlights, is that he does tend to like the bigger receivers, the bigger body guys like TJ Hawkinson, and he targeted those a lot. I noticed that watching his 2020 season highlights that he did tend to throw a lot to TJ Hawkinson in the red zone, and just in a lot of situations where there was not too many guys open, he could trust the bigger guy, and I think I could see this happening. I know we have Tyler Higbee and everything, but I think the Rams wanted a guy who could get this. There's a catch, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen this if you've watched some of Jacob Harris, where he pretty much, the quarterback just threw it, and he had his arms go pretty much around and through the defender and grabbed it while not really being able to even see the ball. And that's the type of receivers that Matthew Stafford likes. Of course, Matthew Stafford can play with any receiver in the league. We've seen some of these guys. He obviously played with Megatron, but he can play with whatever receiver and make it work. But I think the Rams are mainly trying to load him up with all types of talents around the board. You have Robert Woods, who I love. He's versatile, great at those jet sweeps. He seems to come down with a lot of the balls, and he's just got that toe drag swag. And then you got Cooper Kupp. Of course, he can catch it well, but his route running really stands out to me. Jackson brings that speed. Of course, Tutu Atwell, who we just drafted, brings the speed. Then you got Van Jefferson, who's just a very smart route runner, and he's already seeming like a pro, kind of compared to Julio Jones. So you can kind of see a lot of that compared to there. So my point is, the Rams are just trying to load up in a bunch of different talents. This guy is a very unique guy, and they want him also on special teams. He's very versatile. He wants to play wherever the Rams put him, which is honestly good. I don't like the players who are selfish and just want to play the one position that they played, but he's amazing at special teams, like Jake Funk. And this is a need that the Rams had. They needed that special teams guy. He can play well in coverage. He can return the ball too. He loves to crack people with his blocks and stuff like that. So I think this guy is a very, very well-rounded guy. And it's just another weapon to add to Stafford. And if you think about it, guys, this is McVay's... I feel like this is McVay's year. Like, we think we've seen it all from him in this Rams offense, and like that 2018 offense too. But we are not even close to that. There are going to be tons of packages, tons of new ones we have not seen, including ones with Jacob Harris, and I think we're going to see some touchdowns and some amazing plays with him, because this guy I honestly do think is a steal. So this guy's going to be great. I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments, because I think there's a lot that this guy brings to the Rams offense. They've got so many different talents this year, and the offense is going to be a lot better. I think McVay really did not like being in the bottom part of the league, even at certain points of the season. It just seems like they were like one of the worst offenses. I really don't think that the Rams and McVay liked that, and I think they wanted to address that very heavily this offseason, and I think Jacob Harris is an amazing steal for the Los Angeles Rams. So let me know what you think down below in the comments. As always, words up, and God bless. You guys are the best.